Football has a problem, and that problem is not the diving or the VR or the 47 minutes of injury time that somehow physically takes 25 real minutes to play, or the fact that a nil-nil draw can ruin an entire man's weekend and occasionally a marriage. No. The problem is that football hands out awards the way a kindergarten hands out gold stars, constantly, to everyone, and occasionally to people who probably don't deserve one. So while the 2026 World Cup is happening right now, and various humans are out there doing extraordinary things with a ball while wearing shorts, let's rank the most prestigious individual awards in football history. From congratulations on participating to the thing grown men cry about on national television. Let's go. Quick ground rules, because if I don't set them, someone in the comments will set them for me, aggressively, in all capitals. We're ranking by prestige, meaning the combination of how much the players themselves actually care, how much the fans collectively lose their minds, and how many Twitter arguments it has generated per square inch of internet per year. Team trophies are a different video. Today is individual hardware, the awards that end friendships, fuel Messi versus Ronaldo debates that will probably outlast both of them, and occasionally get handed to a defender, which the entire footballing world treats as a minor criminal event. And yes, the Ballon d'Or is number one. You know it. I know it. Every other award on this list knows it. We're doing the appetizers first, and we're going to enjoy them. Settle in. The Participation Trophy. The FIFA Fair Play Award is handed to the team, or occasionally a player, that demonstrates the best sporting behavior throughout a tournament. Fewest fouls, most sportsmanship, general vibes of human decency. Good values. Very nice. Completely meaningless in the context of who actually wins anything. Japan advanced to the 2018 World Cup knockout stage over Senegal on fair play points. They were level on literally every metric. Points, goal difference, goals scored, and went through because they apparently committed fewer fouls. This is real. This is not a bit. A team qualified for the round of 16 by being polite, which is either the most beautiful or most cursed ruling in football history, depending entirely on your personal relationship with Japan's national team and the concept of karma. Nobody has this award above their fireplace. Let's not pretend otherwise. The Kopa Trophy, named after French legend Raymond Kopa, is the Ballon d'Or's version of the kids' table. It goes to the best player under 21 and was introduced in 2018, which was also the year an 18-year-old named Mbappé won the World Cup and made the award immediately complicated. Gavi won it. Pedri was nominated so many times the award basically has his name pre-engraved. Bellingham picked one up. These are enormous names. And that's exactly the point. This award is a soft promise from the footballing establishment. You might get the real one someday. Probably. Unless there's another Messi, there's always another Messi. The genuinely strange thing about the Kopa Trophy is that most of its winners are already famous enough not to need it. Gavi was starting for Barcelona at 16. He knows who he is. The trophy is for us, so we can feel like we're discovering someone. Beautiful in intent. Correctly placed at number 9. Moving on. Named after the great Ferenc Puskás, the Hungarian genius we discussed being robbed in the 1954 final, which I am still not over. The Puskás Award goes to the most spectacular goal scored anywhere on Earth in a given year. Anywhere. Not the Premier League, not the Champions League, anywhere. This means a reserve team player in the Estonian second division can, in theory, score a ridiculous Rabona volley in front of 400 people and a dog, go viral, and receive a FIFA award. Mohad Faiz Subri, a Malaysian second division player, won it in 2016 with a free kick that curved so dramatically it may have violated several agreements between mankind and physics. The footballing world collectively went, "It then who?" watched the video and went, "Okay, fair. That's the one." The Puskás Award is football reminding itself that it belongs to everyone, not just the clubs with private jets. It is genuinely one of the most wholesome things FIFA has ever done, which is admittedly not a long list, but still counts. Goalkeepers are football's most put-upon professionals. They train as hard as anyone. They make critical decisions under absurd pressure, and when everything goes right, they get a polite round of applause. When one thing goes wrong, they get blamed for the entire collapse of Western civilization. The World Cup Golden Glove is given to the best goalkeeper of the tournament, which gives the world roughly 4 weeks every 4 years to remember there is a human being in goal who is, in fact, doing something difficult. Iker Casillas won it in 2010. Manuel Neuer essentially redefined the position in 2014 and won it. These are correct results. Then there are additions where the award goes to a goalkeeper who made good saves in games their team controlled anyway, which is a little like giving someone a bravery medal for walking confidently into a room where everyone already liked them. The Golden Glove is football briefly looking at a goalkeeper and saying, "We see you," once every 4 years. Progress. Now, we're at the grown-up table. The Lev Yashin Trophy, introduced by France Football in 2019, is the Ballon d'Or ceremony's dedicated award for the best goalkeeper on the planet in a given year. Named after the only goalkeeper to ever win the actual Ballon d'Or. In 1963, an achievement so singular the award was effectively named after him as a permanent apology to the position. Alisson won it. Courtois won it. Ter Stegen was in contention for several years running in the specific purgatory category that reads, exceptional, widely respected, absolutely not winning the big one, have a nice evening and safe travels home. The trophy exists partly because, and I say this with genuine warmth for all goalkeepers, a goalkeeper winning the actual Ballon d'Or in the modern era is about as likely as a goalless draw being declared a thriller by the commentators. Technically possible, theoretically on the table, not happening. Yashin did it once, in 1963. Football has been quietly apologizing to goalkeepers about the 60-year gap ever since by giving them their own award and hoping nobody notices. Now, we are in legitimate, proper, genuine prestige territory. The World Cup Golden Boot goes to the tournament's top scorer, the person who, across an entire month of football at the highest possible level, put the ball in the net more times than any other human being who tried. In a tournament where every team has brought their absolute best defenders, their most structured systems, their most prepared goalkeepers, and one striker still scored more than everyone else. That is not normal behavior. Mbappé won it in 2018 at 19 years old. Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, the real one, the one with the iconic haircut that briefly became a geopolitical event, won it in 2002 while barely healthy enough to stand. Salvatore Schillaci won it in 1990 in what remains one of football's most charming "where did this man come from and why can nobody stop him" stories in tournament history. He scored 6 goals and somehow the world just shrugged and accepted it. The slightly complicated thing about the Golden Boot is that it doesn't always go to the most impressive player. It goes to whoever scored the most, and some of those goals are penalties, some are tap-ins, and some are against teams whose entire defensive strategy appeared to be hope for the best. It still looks magnificent on a shelf. The striker knows exactly what it means. We're not judging. The Golden Ball, the award for the player who, across an entire World Cup, made the rest of us forget about sleep, work, basic nutrition, and whatever else we were supposed to be doing. Messi won it in 2022. Obviously, deservedly, beautifully. A man who spent 15 years being told he couldn't do it for his country by people who, again, had never done anything for anyone, lifted the World Cup and the Golden Ball in the same evening, and the comments section ran out of adjectives. Modric won it in 2018, which briefly made everyone believe the Messi-Ronaldo chokehold on football's imagination had finally been loosened. It had not been, but the gesture was appreciated. In 2002, Ronaldo, still the Brazilian one, still the haircut, won it while also winning the Golden Boot, which is the footballing equivalent of turning up to an exam and answering every question, including the ones on the back page that nobody told you about. The 2014 Golden Ball went to Messi in a tournament Germany won, which remains controversial. Giving the Best Player award to someone whose team didn't win is either perfectly reasonable or a mild institutional scandal, depending entirely on your nationality. Right now, as the 2026 World Cup unfolds, someone is writing their name into this conversation, whether they know it yet or not. The European Golden Shoe is awarded each season to the top scorer across Europe's top-flight leagues, with a coefficient system that weights goals by league difficulty, which is football's polite, measured way of saying, your 43 goals in the Pharaohs Premiership are noted and respected, but they are not the same. For a roughly 10-year period, this award was the Messi-Ronaldo show, presented alternately. Ronaldo wins it. Messi wins it in response. Ronaldo wins it back. Messi returns the favor. This happened so many times that the award itself began to feel like a trophy they were passing back and forth across a dinner table while everyone else at the table ate in silence. Ciro Immobile won it in 2020. Italy's response was somewhere between national pride and quiet bewilderment, which is the correct emotional range for the situation. The European Golden Shoe is the most statistically inarguable award in football. Most goals, best leagues, weighted appropriately. You can't dispute the math. Football fans will absolutely try. We are, as a collective, not good at accepting things we can't argue about. Okay, here's where it gets genuinely awkward. The FIFA Best Men's Player Award was created in 2016 after FIFA and France Football, the magazine behind the Ballon d'Or, had the kind of institutional falling out that results in two separate Best Player in the World awards existing at the same time, which is about as rational as it sounds. For a few years, they collaborated on something called the FIFA Ballon d'Or. Then they had a disagreement about branding or voting criteria or who got to stand where at the ceremony. The exact details are appropriately petty. And now football has two Best Player on Earth trophies per year, handed out in different months, by different organizations, occasionally to different people. When they go to the same person, the internet spends 2 weeks discussing whether the process was fair. When they go to different people, the internet briefly tears itself apart, trying to decide which award matters more. The answer is always the Ballon d'Or. The FIFA Best Award knows this. The player who wins the FIFA Best Award and not the Ballon d'Or knows this. Everyone knows this. It is genuinely a prestigious honor. Players care, coaches vote, captains vote. The system is arguably more democratic than the Ballon d'Or's journalist-heavy panel. And yet, it exists in the shadow of number one the way a very good restaurant exists in the shadow of the legendary one 3 streets away. You'd still go, you'd enjoy it, but you'd know. Of course. The Ballon d'Or, French for golden ball because even the name of the award had to sound better than everyone else's, is the most coveted individual prize in world football. There is no debate. I will read all comments disagreeing with this, and I will disagree back, politely, indefinitely. It has been awarded since 1956. That is almost 70 years of football's greatest players reorganizing their entire careers around the opinion of a French magazine, which, when you say it out loud, sounds like it shouldn't work. And yet, Cristiano Ronaldo restructured his diet, his body, his public image, and possibly his hairline around winning this thing 5 times. So clearly, the French magazine has power we are not fully understanding. Messi has won it 8 times. 8. I need you to sit with that number for a moment, because it is not a number that should be possible in a team sport. In a sport where you need 11 people, where injuries are random, where defenders are specifically assigned to stop you, where form fluctuates and tournaments end early, and sometimes a goalkeeper just has the game of their life. 8. The next closest is Ronaldo with 5, which in any alternative universe where Messi doesn't exist, makes him the undisputed greatest of all time and probably a deity in several countries. In this universe, it is a silver medal at his own personal Olympics, and football is deeply, beautifully unfair about it. Luka Modric won it in 2018. Breaking the Messi-Ronaldo monopoly after a decade of uninterrupted dominance between just 2 men. The footballing world treated this like a minor miracle. People genuinely checked if they were dreaming. Modric, to his credit, accepted it with dignity while the rest of us processed what had just happened. The Ballon d'Or is where careers get defined. Not club titles, not league wins, not statistics. The sphere. Winning it means the world looked at every single player on the planet in a given year and decided you were the best one. That is what it means. And players feel that. Every November when the ceremony approaches, you can see the tension in press conferences. The careful deflections. The, I just want to help my team answers that don't quite hide what they're actually thinking about. With the 2026 World Cup happening right now, and given that a standout tournament performance has historically shifted Ballon d'Or voting the way a very strong wind shifts a very uncertain result, whoever is shining brightest this month is very aware there's a golden sphere potentially drifting toward their name. The Ballon d'Or is number 1. It has always been number 1. It will still be number 1 in 2056, when I'll be older, slightly worse at picking tournament dark horses, and still somehow arguing about it online. That's football. That's us. That's the sphere. 10 awards, 1 sport, a comment section that is, as we speak, preparing to tell me I put them in the wrong order, which, look, maybe you're right. The comment section is often right. Occasionally, it is completely unhinged, but that's part of the experience. With the 2026 World Cup running, the Golden Boot is being contested in real time, the Golden Ball conversation is live, and at least one player is doing something tonight that will show up on a Ballon d'Or shortlist in October. Follow the tournament. Watch everything. Form your opinions with passion and unreasonable confidence. Which award matters most to you? Drop it below. If you say the Fair Play Award, I respect you immensely, and I do not understand you at all. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Equally opinionated about something that really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter, but feels like it does. That's the whole game.